Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. A nationwide manhunt is underway for a dangerous suspect after a woman was stabbed to death in Bradford on Saturday.
At this stage, I have, through the lines of inquiries that we've done an all ports warning, and I believe him to still be in this country at this moment in time.
Police have named the victim as Kulsuma Akhtar and warned people not to approach the suspect, but to call 999.
We'll be live in Bradford and hear from eyewitnesses who tried to help, as the impact of this crime is felt right across the city. Also tonight, on track for a better service, a newly upgraded station is officially opened in a Sheffield suburb. And a West Yorkshire costume manufacturer celebrates 60 years of ceremonial stitching.
And don't forget my full forecast, plus I'll be looking at just why it's been so wet and if there's any hope on the horizon. Join me for that detailed forecast.
An horrific murder.
Hello there, good evening. A nationwide manhunt is underway for a man suspected of stabbing a mother to death in broad daylight in the centre of Bradford. The victim, Kulsuma Akhtar, was pushing her baby in a pram when she was attacked on Saturday. Police are searching for 25-year-old Habiba Massam and have warned the public not to approach him. Olivia Richwald is in Bradford for us tonight. Olivia, bring us up to date with what's happening, please.
Well, every police force in the country has been asked to try to help find and arrest the suspect Habiba Massam, who is 25. Today, police carried out raids in Chester, in Oldham and in Burnley. Police have confirmed that he was known to officers, although not here in West Yorkshire. And a 23-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender. Meanwhile, the manhunt for Habiba Massam continues.
An horrific murder in the middle of the day in the centre of Bradford. A mother was stabbed to death as she pushed her baby in a pram. The baby was not injured and is being cared for. This shop owner called the ambulance.
There was loads of blood, and basically the emergency service was telling me what to do. And then while I was there, a doctor of, I think a public doctor that was on a day off or something, and he came over and he took over and he was resuscitating the young lady. It is sad, very, very sad in the community.
West Yorkshire Police found a weapon at the scene and have now finished their searches of the area. This afternoon they held a press conference in which they named the victim as Kulsuma Akhtar from Oldham.
We have had teams of officers working through all the contacts that we've received and following up on all lines of inquiries. There are significant resources conducting CCTV and house-to-house inquiries, and we also have local Bradford officers carrying out increased patrols in the area, which I hope will be of some reassurance to residents.
A national manhunt is now underway for Habiba Massam, who's 25. He's described as Asian and of slim build. Police have said anyone who sees him should call 999 immediately. Neither victim nor suspect are from Bradford, but the community here has been deeply shocked. Prayers were said at the Central Mosque this afternoon.
Obviously, it's very sad for us to even see some sort of incident which has happened like this. I don't think it's ever happened here before, and it shouldn't really happen again.
And tell me, a prayer's being said today?
Yes, the prayers. There's a funeral prayer going on for the lady who actually passed away the other day.
This video from YouTube also shows Mr. Massam. A social media profile suggests he is a student originally from Bangladesh. He was last seen here in Bradford getting off a bus on Killinghall Road and walking up towards Bradford Moor Park. Police have urged any taxi drivers who might have picked him up to get in touch.
Well, at that press conference, West Yorkshire Police did confirm that they had had contact with the victim Kulsuma Akhtar prior to her death, and as such they have now referred themselves to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. Greater Manchester Police have also referred themselves to the same watchdog, so there now will be investigations. Meanwhile, police here in West Yorkshire believe that the suspect, Habiba Massam, is still in the country, and they're now working with officers around the country to try and find him as they continue their high-profile hunt.
Olivia, thank you. Next tonight, 2 teenagers have been treated in hospital after they were stabbed in Sheffield. The 17-year-old boys were assaulted by 2 unknown people in an underpass at St Mary's Gate this morning. One is in a life-threatening condition with stab wounds to the back. The other had minor injuries. 2 people who died in a house fire in Chesterfield have been named by police as mother and son. The fire service is continuing to investigate the blaze, which broke out in the early hours of yesterday morning on Staunton Close. 65-year-old Sarita Garcia Perez and her 31-year-old son Sancho Garcia Bolsova died at the scene. Another woman managed to escape the property and nearby homes were evacuated. A driver who crashed into a bus stop in Huddersfield and killed a 15-year-old schoolgirl has told an inquest he has no memory of the incident. 15-year-old Caitlin Dawson died after being hit by a car in 2018. 57-year-old Richard Brooke from Fennybridge is thought to have had a medical episode at the wheel. In today's hearing, he said he suddenly felt hot, nauseous and got tunnel vision before the crash. He also said he couldn't imagine the hurt Caitlin's parents had been through. The inquest continues. Now, a £150 million rail project has been opened today. It should mean passengers on the Hope Valley line from Sheffield to Manchester have more reliable journeys. Tom Ingle was on the souped-up Door and Totley station for us earlier today.
By declare the new station officially open.
The timing of the train was immaculate for the speech. There are some who say this project, though, is long overdue.
This brings great resilience and capacity improvements for Derbyshire, as well as going into Sheffield and Manchester, of course. And that's what we want to see. We want to see people using the railway rather than using the roads, because this is a greener, cleaner way to travel.
Now, if you're a regular user of the Hope Valley line, you might be wondering, what have I just got for £150 million? Well, you might not spot a lot apart from the big upgrades at Door and Totley station. But the truth is, this is a very busy bit of railway. You've got slow trains using it, fast trains and freight trains, and they do tend to get jammed up around each other. So new tracks have been laid, new signalling technology introduced to help keep things moving. However, further down the line, Victorian signalling still rules the day. So the orange jackets are disappearing to be replaced by suits celebrating. But there is no sign yet of any electrification of this line, which would make journeys faster. When might we see electrification to push you on that point?
Well, no, right to be pushed. Everyone should be really ambitious about electrifying this line. The Prime Minister made the commitment to say it's going to happen. We're now at the business case stage to work out how that electrification can be delivered.
The investment in the Hope Valley upgrade is really welcome. For too long, the North's not had enough, but it is ridiculous that £145 million has been spent when we're not going to see the improvement on passenger services. That's why Labour are setting out plans to bring our railways into public ownership so that we can make decisions on investment that actually have knock-on improvements for passengers.
Decades in the planning, the bunting can finally fly as a notorious rail bottleneck is unjammed. As for future improvements, in the Hope Valley, hope springs eternal. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Door and Totley Station.
And we did approach the Liberal Democrats for their comments on that story, but they have not as yet responded. Now, if you care about the state of your roads, how easy it is to get a job, or what your money is being spent on, then listen up. It is your chance to decide who's in charge of all of that next month. Our political editor James Vincent has got all the info on the local elections, so grab your phone because there are a couple of QR codes to scan so you can put your questions to the politicians.
Right, this is the biggest year for democracy across the world ever. 2 billion people across 50 countries will vote or have already voted in 2024, and that includes us here. Our little part of that 2 billion is still pretty big. It's our biggest election year as well. People here will decide who runs things like the police force, councils and funding for nearly 5 million people. We'll be electing lots of people who will end up being politicians who will make those big decisions. So here's some of those numbers. We will be electing 238 politicians, 8 councils, 2 police commissioners and 4 mayors. So where are we going to get those mayors and police commissioners? Derbyshire and Nottingham are electing someone to run the police forces there, and we'll have 3 brand new Metro mayors they're calling. North Yorkshire, West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire are all electing a mayor. So is the East Midlands. We'll find out who that brand new mayor is in May. There's some of the key numbers. Here are some of the key dates. You've got to get yourself registered to vote by the 16th of April. You've got to make sure you get photo ID to turn up to the polling station and vote by the 24th of April. Over 3,000 people were turned away from ballot boxes last time around because they didn't have photo ID. Now, we've got debates on all of our mayoral elections coming up this month. You'll be able to watch and listen to them on the iPlayer and BBC Sounds. We'll be looking at all the big issues that people will want to talk about as well. All the info you need is, of course, on the BBC website. You can stick your postcode in there at the moment and it will tell you exactly what is up for grabs on your street. And then the big day, polling day, the 2nd of May. It means we've got a bumper bank holiday weekend of vote counting. Lucky me. That Friday and Saturday is when we'll find out who those 238 politicians are. And that, of course, is all up to you. And we want to hear what your questions are. What are the elections? Who's going to be elected? What are they going to do? What powers have they got? Any questions that you've got, scan this QR code on your screen now and you'll be able to message us with whatever your question is. We'll do our best to answer all of them on Look North, on local radio, online and on our social media. We'll try our best to get through all of the questions in the next few weeks before polling day.
So this is your chance to have your say. We look forward to hearing from you. Let's hear from Sal now, shall we, with the latest sport. Hi, Sal.
Thank you, Amy. Yes, shall we start with football? Because relegation back to the Championship may be looming for Sheffield United, but the fight hasn't gone out of the team just yet. It finished 2-2 yesterday against Chelsea after a late equaliser.
Down to that a little bit, you know, we're all winners at the end of the day. You know, to get to this level of football, you can't accept defeat and you can't accept losing. So, you know, it comes down to that at the end of the day. You know, we need to go out there and fight for ourselves and make sure that, you know, we make Bramall Lane a real tough place to come to, like it always has been apart from this season. So, you know, that's the first thing we wanted to get back to doing, and, you know, days like today, steps on the way to doing that.
Let's turn our attention to the Championship now, because things are getting very tight at the top and bottom of the table. Leeds United missed a chance to go top on Saturday after losing 2-1 at Coventry. They dropped to 3rd there, 2 points behind leaders Leicester City and 1 point behind Ipswich. But Huddersfield Town secured a vital 3 points, 1-0 against Millwall, to take them out of the Championship's bottom 3. Substitute Reece Healey there with the winning header at 94 minutes. And a 2-0 win at QPR gave Sheffield Wednesday a huge victory in their fight for Championship survival. Anthony Masaba scoring the Owls' second goal and being pretty happy about it. So those results leave Huddersfield on 43 points, just above the relegation zone, but there's only a point between them and Birmingham and Sheffield Wednesday. It is all over though for Rotherham, their relegation confirmed after that defeat to Plymouth Argyle on Friday. There is one more team I want to mention, and that's Doncaster Rovers, who are starting to get talked about as stealth contenders for the playoff places in League Two. They won 3-0 away at Morecambe on Saturday, their 6th victory in a row. They're now just 7 points outside the playoff places. Not bad for a team that spent large parts of the season floating around the relegation zone. In cricket, Yorkshire's first game of the season has finished in a draw, but not before spectators were treated to 2 centuries this afternoon. Adam Lyth with the first, and then England batter Harry Brook returned to action in style with a 69-ball century before a Yorkshire declaration. Yorkshire take 12 points and Leicestershire 13. Now, for the past 4 weeks of Ramadan, a group of football teams in Bradford have been meeting on Saturday nights to play matches. It's called the Ramadan Midnight Football League, and I stayed up past my bedtime on Saturday to experience all the late-night drama.
Yes! Yes!
The passion of competition and the quiet contemplation of prayer. Saturday night with the Midnight League is a delicious mix of food and football. And for Fairbank United, breaking their fast together has become a welcome pre-game ritual.
We're here because it's like a family community club, and just to bring that an extra bond together and to show that appreciation of one another.
After iftar comes evening prayer before the team heads to a five-a-side centre for the main event. It's just before 12, the warm-up's underway, ready for the finals of the Ramadan Midnight League.
A couple of years ago when we set the tournament up, someone suggested to play a Midnight League. I personally, like most sensible people, thought it was an absolutely ludicrous idea, but when we suggested it to the young lads, they actually took to it and we were like, OK. And so now we are in our third year. It's midnight, I'm tired, but we're here.
4 teams have reached tonight's finals. These are high-energy, fast-paced games, all watched on by family and friends.
I think that it brings the whole community together. It brings a lot of people indoors. You know what I mean? To play football, to show the love of football and stuff.
They're pretty serious on there, aren't they?
Yeah, it gets a bit heated on there. But at the end of the day, it's all for charity. At the end of the day.
Good night out.
Yeah, very good night out.
The thing I love about this league is it brings people together, it's exercise, and normally in Ramadan you don't really see many of them, so when you come on a night you get to see people who you probably haven't seen all year.
There's misconceptions about Ramadan and people not being able to do anything, and this just shows that actually after people break their fast, the people have still got a lot of energy to burn and get people out there and playing a bit of football.
As well as bringing people together, this is a charity tournament which has already raised £6,500. This year it will go towards food aid for people caught up in the Gaza conflict.
What we're going to give is a drop in the ocean, but we're thinking about them, and that's one of the reasons why people are out here tonight as well. And if whatever we can give to alleviate the suffering is what it is.
By 1 a.m, the 2 best teams are head-to-head in a tussle for the top. And in true dramatic style, it goes to a penalty shootout, not without its controversy, until victory is at last claimed. Trophies are handed out, and it's all over for another year of the Ramadan Midnight League. But with celebrations stretching into the early hours, bedtime can wait just a little longer. Great fun that, although I am still a little sleep deprived.
I bet you shouted. What time did you get to bed in the end?
3 a.m.
Oh, it was worth it though. What a brilliant insight. That was a really nice piece. Thanks, Sal. Now, it all started as an haberdashery firm back in 1852. Now, Wydeen Weaving is celebrating 60 years of family ownership based in Haworth. Now, the company is pretty special. Take a look at this, making braids, ribbons and all the fancy regalia that makes events like the coronation so spectacular. Kathy Killick has been to see their unique production techniques in action.
We're known for it the world over. Pomp, pageantry and immaculate attention to ceremonial detail. But none of this incredible spectacle would be possible without the work of a skilled and dedicated team at this old mill in Haworth. Wydeen Weaving Company is a powerhouse of top-quality ceremonial accoutrements and is celebrating its Diamond Jubilee.
It's 60 years of right family ownership of this lovely company, and we're very proud to be able to showcase it today. Of course, what we're making was invented in Victorian times, so a lot of the techniques and methods we use are old techniques, and so the best ways to make those is with the old machinery.
Dozens of specialist looms crank out the braids and ribbons needed for medals and uniforms. This one's so old it uses a flying shuttle, technology invented in the 1700s, but still going strong.
They all have their own personalities. Some can be very awkward in the morning and it can take a while to get them running. Some are just fine. To work for Wydeen is a privilege really, because we're making materials for royalty, for the treatment for colour, and we supply webbings for armed forces. There are very few people doing this kind of thing nowadays.
The absolute jewel in Wydeen's crown, though, is the hand sewing and embroidery used to make regimental colours, perfect from both sides. These symbolic creations are much more than mere flags. They represent all the fallen members of the regiment and are revered objects. With a new monarch on the throne, they need replacing, one precious stitch at a time.
It's very rewarding. It's an honour. It's history. It's remembrance. It's meaningful for a lot of people because everything is historical. What they had 100 years ago, we're still doing the same.
As the Jubilee celebrations were in full swing, the embroiderers learnt they'd been awarded the King's Coronation Medal, a total surprise that left them gobsmacked, and a fitting finale of a grand day for the grafters behind the scenes that make the glory possible. Cathy Killick, BBC Look North, Haworth.
Happy anniversary to them. Now we have a new feature called Weather View, or Paul's Weather View, I should say. It's a new regular Monday night feature where we talk about, you guess it, weather stories that are of interest to you. Now, last time we asked you for your ideas and questions, and there was definitely a common theme here. We had lots of them, actually. Many messaging about why the weather has been so wet for so long. So, Paul, have you got the answer?
Well, I think I have, yes. I mean, it is. Everybody's sick to the back teeth of the weather. Let's just have a look at how wet it's been. The wettest 18 months since records began in 1836. So it has been unprecedented. Sheffield had its second wettest autumn on record. Bramham had its wettest winter. So the weather patterns have been locked in this really miserable cycle. I went to see Jim McQuaid, who's a climate scientist, and asked him what was going on.
If you go back to just school level physics, if you warm up the atmosphere by 1 degree, that equates to another 7% of water in the atmosphere. So when it rains, there's more rain. 7% doesn't sound like much, but actually it can be overtopping riverbanks and things like that.
So the weather patterns have got more energy because the North Atlantic is in record warm territory, as is the planet. So I then asked Jim, can we get any clues from what we've had over the last 18 months? And this is what Jim told me.
In the future, we're just going to see more of the same. We're going to see an extreme. So the extremes are going to get more extreme and they're going to happen more often. And we're just seeing the records are just constantly being broken. Traditionally, you'd think like a wet winter record might have been broken every 10, 20 years. But it's year on year. We're just breaking the records over and over again. And, you know, we've got to stop using unprecedented, because unprecedented, it's not unprecedented anymore, it's normal.
So it's been miserable. When is this rain going to stop?
So Jim is basically indicating what we've just been through autumn and winter on average is going to happen more often, which is a bit depressing, isn't it? As regards to when it's going to stop, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty, but it does look as though the pattern could start changing. So the second half of April into May, we could see a bit of an improvement, and I think
a bit
I'm
of an
hoping
improvement. For a lot.
Drier and warmer, and don't forget, if you've got any questions, anything at all you want us to feature on Look North, you can get your smartphone out now and you can use that QR code, or you can message us on WhatsApp and we will feature the common theme of the day. It can be absolutely anything at all. Now I'm going to start the weather sequence.
I enjoyed that, by the way.
Did you?
Very insightful.
Fantastic.
Look forward to next week's instalment.
Well, look at the Riveroos there. I mean, this, honestly, the Riveroos doesn't seem to have ever fallen back to normal levels. It's been up and down for months on end. So that gives you an indication as to how wet it still is and how wet the land is. And if we move on to the next picture, I love this. I don't know how he's done this, but that's the overflow at the reservoir in Ripondon linking into the other reservoir, but the water's piling over the top of there, so the reservoirs have got no problem at all. If you've got any pictures you'd like to send to me on Twitter, Instagram and on the Weather Watcher website, and we've put actually a reel, they call them reels on Instagram, of what I've just been talking about those weather patterns and the excessive rainfall we've all had to endure. And there's more rain in the forecast. Look at this tomorrow. It's windy, more rain sweeping in from the west courtesy of this feature. Another rain-bearing weather front to come across on Wednesday, so it turns wet on Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday and into the weekend, it looks drier, warmer and brighter. In fact, some spots could be up to 19 degrees on Thursday afternoon. But in the short term, there's a lot of cloud out there. We've got rain, especially across parts of North and West Yorkshire. And what we'll find this evening and overnight is that outbreaks of rain continue to move northwards. A few clearer spells in there, but rain never far away. And we'll see temperatures coming in at around about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow's high water time, Scarborough 5:18, Bridlington at 5:41. So a pretty cloudy day tomorrow. Patchy rain from the word go, some dry spells, but then we look to the west. Outbreaks of rain spreading in from the northwest, accompanied by a strong and gusty west to northwest wind. Despite the fact temperatures back to normal, it is going to feel quite chilly in that strong wind. Tomorrow evening then we'll see that rain clearing out of the way, some evening sunshine to come, and then more rain Wednesday, but an improvement for Thursday and Friday. That's the forecast.
I feel like rain's going to be a common theme in this Paul's weather view.
Well, hopefully not. It depends what our viewers want me to talk about.
Well, fingers crossed, more sunshine is definitely on the way. Thank you, Paul. Phil is here with your late news. But that is it from us. Bye-bye for now.